I'm like, why do I know that name? And then I think, all this in like a split of seconds. I think that we're at a Vercel event.
Exactly. You have made it as an engineer when people recognize you from your GitHub repository.
I got rejected, and I was so upset that I was rejected that I literally got up and walked to the office.
And I reached the top of the hill, and then I go suddenly, and I hear them say that it's called Golden Gate Bridge because we're live.
And
baby.
we're live. Let's go.
Oh my god! Whoa!
Am I too close to the? Is this too close? Should I go a little back?
Just look straight. Just look straight. Everything's
Okay.
gonna be fine.
Okay. Try to be normal. Famous last words.
So Abed, you are in a studio right now, or we're becoming more and more professional as we go? Episode 6 this time. Take me through it.
Welcome to San Francisco, baby. Yes, I literally found this place like 20 minutes ago. Somebody was like, I asked somebody, is there a room I could do a podcast from without annoying anyone? And he was like, yeah, wait 1 second. And he called somebody and he remote controlled opened a room that is a like podcast recording studio, which is
Are you on your
impressive.
membership now? Are you on your membership now, or are you still a
Not yet.
visitor? You know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
I am very much a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy. And I met the guy that runs the place today, and he was like, oh, you're the guy that we've been trying to give a membership to for the last like 3 weeks. And I was like, yep, that's me. And he was like, well, welcome. And I was like, thank you for having me. I'm leaving tomorrow and I still haven't gotten my membership.
I
But
spent already too many days in the tower, so yeah,
who cares? Exactly. Yeah, they gave me this studio and I was like, really exciting, and then the internet was really bad. So this is our fourth attempt trying to record. I hope, fingers crossed, no Wi-Fi issues.
Do you want to share with us what is the vertical village idea and how they're implementing that in the Frontier Tower, San Francisco?
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to do my best. So there is this tower in the very center of San Francisco, or I guess quite central. And they're trying to be an independent vertical village. That's what they say. And every floor is dedicated to a different like industry or domain. And so there's a floor here. The one that I'm in right now is the longevity floor. So there's people like eating healthy. This is not a promo, but I somebody gave me this longevity coffee. It was like, hey, have some longevity coffee. Science-based longevity coffee. So they're like trying to eat healthy, trying to follow like Brian Johnson blueprint, or maybe also like do their own research. And then there are other floors. My favorite ones were like the more hands-on ones. There's like a robotics floor. There's a makerspace floor. There's an art and music floor. And then there's like some common ones like the lounge, the co-working ones. There's a gym one.
Basically, if you have an interest, probably you're going to find your people there. You just have to look at the right floor, and people with the same interests will just hang around, and you can just work with them and just hang out with them.
Correct. I've met some really cool people here, doing a lot of nomads, a lot of people working on startups, a lot of people working on side projects, and they're all just, like using the shared equipment, using shared spaces. And there's a lot of people that are making content here. In fact, I was part of a video series channel, like a game thing. That it will be on Twitter in the next few days. It's called the Tech Original Games. And I made quite a few friends. And the guy that opened the studio for me today, I met him at the games a couple of weekends ago.
So that was
let's take a step back because
go ahead.
That is the competition. It'll go live at some point in the next few days. But I want us to take a step back and you tell us a little bit why were we here? You were here until 2 days ago. What is so interesting about here? Why do we spend our savings to spend time here?
Okay, well, many thoughts. If I could summarize it, is that every chance we get to be in the epicenter, as you say, of technology, we just do it. And it's the place with the most delusional but forward-looking, future-looking people in the world right now, or one of the most dense cities with this type of personalities. So the moment you visit the city, you soon realize that this is the case, and you're always surrounded by people that are smarter than you. They're most likely very exposed to the frontier, and for anyone that is in this industry has to figure out a way to go and experience that. And that's what we did. And of course, you will find your people, and you will soon realize that there is also the opportunity cost of you not being there. And that's something that I'm really thinking about.
Yeah, I feel like the amount of people that knew more than me on this trip were almost like the vast majority of people had something that I could learn from, which was really interesting. Um, there's always events going on. There's like multiple hackathons every day. There's multiple new things being announced or beta things being released, like multiple a day, which I understand can be overwhelming if somebody like lives here. They will at some point try to avoid going to these things. But if
Uh-huh.
you are interested in tech and you work in tech and you don't live anywhere near a big city like this or this city specifically, like to me this was quite exciting. I went to so many events the first few days that I was here, and then with it, like just randomly going to these events that I thought were cool, I met all these people that I would only see on YouTube. Like we randomly ran into Theo from T3 chat. um The most impressive though is this guy that I met that is not very famous, but
Oh, it's time.
I
Okay, so
saw
let me give some context and give you the
Okay,
path
okay,
to
go
go
ahead.
and say that story. So we are in San Francisco. Shack 15 is the name of a very fancy, nice building that they host parties, events, anything related with launches. And we were there for Vercel's Skills.sh's launch, where basically very influential people of the technology ecosystem were part of that in order to celebrate this new tool. We will not go into very much detail. So me and Abel get a chance to be around these very smart, very influential people at work in big tech, and we're just going around. And so what happens next?
And so towards the end of like the event, there was a little bit of networking, people talking, and I spotted this guy that I knew from tech YouTube. I think he used to work at Vercel before. He used to be the dev relationships lead at Vercel, and then he left and he's now doing the same job at Cursor. So this guy is very like well known in the
This is
space,
there, right?
and a circle of about he had a circle of about like 5 people around him, and he was like talking and they're showing him things on their laptops, and I was like, all right, before we leave, let me check out what this guy's talking about real quick. And then I approach, and the guys that were around him, they opened up the circle, and I got in the circle, and the guy to my right tried to like make me feel welcome, so he like introduces himself to me, and he goes, hi, my name is Hayden. And I'm like, why do I know that name? And then I think, oh, listen, like, split a second. I think that we were at a Vercel event, and a year or two ago, I saw this post of Vercel buying a template, a starter template, like a Next.js, make a web app, a production grade web app really quickly. And it was an open source template, and Vercel bought it. It belongs to Vercel now, and hired the guy to work there. And all I saw when he said his name to me, I remembered when I go on GitHub and fork that repo, or when I deploy that repo, I see that it says his fork from Hayden, his last name, / next forge. And it hit me and it's like, is this the guy that I have spammed his template for the last like year? It turns out it was him. And I was like, "Are you Hayden, as in Hayden / Next Forge?" And he was like, "Yes, sir, that's me." So we start chatting, we start talking about what he's working on. And then he was like, "All right, you've used my template a bunch. Give me some feedback. What can I change?" And I was like, "Oh, how much time do you have? Bring it on." So I started telling him all the things that I would want different, or all the things that I want added or removed. Because he hasn't been working on this thing full time. This is something that he did like a year or two ago, and he's now moved on to do other things. And he said that it was time now for him to do an updated version. And so, like 15 minutes in, he pulls out his phone and he starts to keep note of the things that we were talking about. And I was like, only in San Francisco, you run into somebody and you recognize them from their username on GitHub.
Exactly. You have made it as an engineer when people recognize you from your GitHub repository and code base that you have created. And this guy, I don't think that he has ever experienced something like that with your interaction, because probably you're the number one fan of the Next Forge and you're just pitching about it like it's you're part of the team. But let's share with us the story of that other lately very famous engineer that we went on his birthday party, and there was this huge line of people trying to get a picture with him. Do you wanna tell more about who I'm talking about?
Yeah, so
Agree.
the next day we went to this other event, and it was the birthday of Claude Code, the CLI tool. And it was the first birthday. So Claude Code was released February of last year. And it was interesting. I really wanted to go and go see the people that created it, go see the people that work at Anthropic. But what I didn't expect was to see the creator of Claude Code has somehow turned into a rock star in the space. And when the event ended, there was a queue of people that wanted to take a picture with him. There's a queue of people that were like asking him, we were like showing him what they were working on, which I thought was very interesting. And then we asked him, um, like, how do you feel about being a celebrity developer? And he was like, dude, I just want to build things. I don't care about any of this. And I feel like only people like that can create like world changing technology. Because this man, like on a weekend, changed the trajectory of how so many software developers or not software developers do spend most of their day, right? Like this man's side project has started this movement of technical and non-technical people using agentic flows for doing everything. And now, after Claude Code became Anthropic's biggest revenue bringer, they're going after the non-technical people with Claude Cowork. And Claude Cowork is literally like Claude Code, but with nicer UI.
We have to mention here that the story behind Claude Code is not like we would imagine a very planned project that they have foreseen, and it's most of the new exciting technology that we're using. It's probably like a lab somewhere with engineers that are just experimenting with different stuff and never expected to see a terminal application being used by executives on very C-level positions. All of this to say, he said, we just tried it and we dog fooded it, and apparently people liked it. And that's why they're doubling down on it. But there are so many other projects before that they were expecting them to go viral and to be very useful, but no one used them. So imagine all these very smart people just sitting in a place, experimenting and trying new stuff, because we definitely are in a phase where we're just trying to explore the capabilities of this technology.
And I heard the man created called Code, Boris. He was an engineer at like Facebook for like over a decade. And he was very well known within his colleagues that he was like very disciplined. He was he was a good engineer. And it is interesting that when you let people like that are good, you give them the freedom to do, like what they think is a good idea, to let them experiment. it is very interesting that some really good things can come out of that. And I think that's the same case with OpenClaw. Like OpenClaw was also like a side experiment project, and it ended up changing a lot how people see the industry, just because some guy decided not to follow what was the conventional practice of all the security constraints. But Anthropic is very much not like that, though. I feel like Anthropic is very much, oh, security first, or that's what they claim. I know you had some different opinions. I've definitely been biased or influenced lately because I went to all these Anthropic events, and I'm like, yeah, these guys are pretty nice. I mean,
Well,
they're doing
exactly.
they're
If
net
you're getting
positive.
all if you're getting all this nice swag, of course you might like reconsider. And of course, they are pioneers. I never said the opposite. Now, do you want to share with the public how did we get into the event and what might be some tricks when you really want to go somewhere and you
Okay.
don't have access? Because I think that's going to be
Okay.
something the audience will appreciate, even that one person that it's not getting that approval to a very nice event that they're willing to go. What are the options?
Right. Right. I feel like this does need two people, and it takes two people, and it takes two people with different skill sets. You're very good at like, oh, we have only one invite. Let's go there and we'll sweet talk them into getting us both in. So in the case of the Claude Code birthday, we had both signed up, and for some reason, maybe I signed up a little bit earlier than you. For some reason, they had accepted my sign up and had wait listed Eon. Obviously, we wanted to go together because I don't want to go celebrating
Maybe
Claude
now
Code's
that I
birthday
think
without
about it,
Ian.
maybe my surname Petropoulos might sound a little bit sketchy, but keep going.
Yeah, fair. I see. That must be it. That was it for sure. So we have one invite, and then that day, the same day, I went to this run club by this guy, Julian Weiser. Very cool guy in SF who organizes a lot of events. And he had us do a circle before the run, and he said, I want you guys to introduce each other, but you're not allowed to talk about your work. You're only
That's
allowed to
beautiful.
talk about what are the things that others can ask you about that you're interested in. And then in my case, some people said like they do DJing. Some people said that they're crocheting, like they're learning how to make clothes. And I thought that was a really good way to start an event, because nowadays it's all about, oh, what are you working on? Oh, what are you doing? Oh, what stage you are. And then I feel like this is very ingenuine. And then this guy had this really nice way to break the awkwardness. And anyway, when it was my turn, I said that I used to be a baker. And I said, and by the way, I'm going to the Claude Code birthday party later. Is anybody coming? And then someone was like, hey, I got a ticket, but I'm not sure if I'm going to make it because I'm going to this other event. And then I was like, I got you. Give me your contact. My friend really wants to go. Can we maybe get your ticket? He was like, I'm not so sure. Maybe I will want to go. So let's see. So we kept this guy's
So step one,
contact. Right.
information. If you have information, you're one step closer. Keep going.
Yes. So that. So we knew that there was somebody that was probably not going to make it to the event, and we had his number and we had his social media and so on. And so normally, or what a lot of other people would react to a situation like this, they'd be like, "Oh, I haven't gotten an invite. I'm not going." But not Ian. Ian was like, "I don't have an invite, but I'm going. I'm going regardless." So we get there, and I'm texting this guy's like, "Hey, how's your day? Are you actually gonna make it to the event?" And then like literally 2 minutes before we get to go to the event, he's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not gonna make it. You guys use my ticket." But he couldn't send us the ticket, or it was like too late. So Ian shows up to the counter, and he's like, "Hey, my friend is sick. He's not gonna make it. Can I use his ticket?" And then they let us both go in.
So now the important step 2 here, it's to be kind, to be smiling, to be well presented, and to try to make them believe that you fit in that group. Because if you show up underdressed or without being very patient or kind, and with a good behavior. To make a long story short, it's going to make your case difficult. So that's step 2. And step 3, and the most important, confidence. If you show them that you know you're getting in, if you show them that you're getting in, but it's a process that we have to take care of and just make their life easy, then you can make it. So they redirect us to another guy. They just need your contact. We had the name. We used that information. We shared our contacts with them, and we have already worn the merch, and we have already said all these kind of words, and suddenly we were in. So don't get discouraged when sometimes things don't go your way. Just go through the third door, and that's gonna work most of the time. And if not, there's nothing so important that you lost. It's worth the risk.
Exactly. I feel like with events like these, it's always worth trying. And then it could have very easily been that we stumbled upon the wrong guy, wrong time, wrong moment, and then they're like, "Oh no, sorry, we're sold out. Please get out of my face." But it was worth trying. It ended up working, and everybody was happy. And I feel like every time that I got into the coding bootcamp that I've done this way, I got rejected, and I was so upset that I was rejected that I literally got up and walked to the office of the coding bootcamp that I found the address on Google, and I was like, "Hi guys, you rejected me, but I don't think it's fair. Can we talk?" And then they literally let me do a 7-month long bootcamp.
We have been in the shoes of the people that are rejecting and accepting many different times and for many different situations in coding bootcamps too, and you've seen how it goes. It's never too personal. Sometimes it's just you don't have enough information to decide, and it's a matter of time, or you might be tired or anything. But if someone really wants it and shows up, you just have to admit it and just have to give them a chance. Most of the time.
Sometimes it works,
but anyway,
sometimes doesn't. But I guess there's definitely value in trying a little more, especially if you want something like hard enough. For me, going to the Claude Code birthday party was definitely worth a try. Even if they had said no, I would have still liked to have tried. And I think that was really fun times.
Let's step back a little bit. We were in the Claude Code's first birthday, so it felt like we go to a birthday of a software that kind of everybody knows in that room that's going to be the future, and we celebrate a year after the idea was born and the product was launched. So it feels like a little bit others, like being in the 1-year anniversary of like Word or like Linux or something that that's going to be very impactful in the world, and you're just there in the first year of it being launched, and it felt like we could feel the importance and the breakthrough of Claude Code after the celebration. Yep. Test.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, we haven't some
I
technical
can
issues in the capital of tech.
I can cut any part that we don't like. Ion, here. Woo,
Great.
Okay. So you could really feel
Nice.
you could really feel it. You could really feel that is a special moment. And since we're jumping from topic to topic, I don't know if you have something in mind. I also want to share a little bit about the hackathon that we participated and some gifts that we got. Do you think it's the time?
Yes. No, you. Okay. Yeah, you talk about that. Go, and then I'm gonna say something after.
All right. I'm gonna be short. People that are interested in tech, if you open this application called Luma, you're gonna find in your city many events and many competitions that you can basically go there, network, eat for free, and learn. Earn, burn, learn. So Long story short,
Uh,
we have been farming with Abed hackathons a lot lately, and sometimes we get a good place in the competition. Last time it was the first place. People were so kind to give us the Meta glasses gift, and it has been so fun ever since. So there is this company called Wordware that they're building an enterprise OpenClaw, if I could really summarize it very simply. And they asked us to do a use case of OpenClaw with a nice interface. So we presented that as a mobile app that you could talk to and interact with the camera, passing that information back to your OpenClaw. And they liked it, and we got the first place. So that was very fun, and that opened a lot of doors for us. And they gave us many offers to um, do many things with them. So yeah, the moral of the story: Open Luma, as Abed said, in a city, the only thing you need, or in a set at least, is a hacker house to stay, hackathons and Luma to go and network, and RAS, dress for less. So you have food with a hackathon, you have everything. There you go. That's how you roll into San Francisco with as much as $1,000 per month, more or less.
Interestingly, to your hackathon story, the lady that joined our team on the hackathon last minute, we got to the first place at the hackathon. She got a trial job at the company that was hosting the hackathon. So kudos
Awesome.
to her. I'm not sure if she wants us to mention her name, but that was really inspiring. And I told her when I went afterwards to visit the company, I told her when I walked into this office, I thought that you worked here, and now you do, which is
Does.
crazy. And I thought that she worked there because the moment we got in, they started putting out the food, which was very new to me. I've never had never had food at a hackathon before the hackathon started. And
That was
I
crazy.
show up and I was like, why are you feeding us before we have to do the work? Nobody's gonna work. And she was opening up the food containers. So I thought that she worked there, but she just volunteered to open those containers.
Sangati Johnson.
Another thing that I want to talk about San Francisco is I love how close to wild nature it is.
Oh my god.
In that you can within like 1 hour be in like a forest or in the woods or in the mountains. Or if you have a car or you can afford, you can be in 3-4 hours, you can be in like a national park. Pacific Ocean is insane. So this is a very unique geographical location that has some of the wildest nature, but also some of the wildest technology. And then let's not even begin to talk about the Waymos and the driverless cars and I'm gonna post something on Twitter. I saw the Waymo charging station in the center of SF, and it was a big parking lot. It was a scene out of like GTA or something. It was a big parking lot. Waymos are going in one door and going out the other door, and it was very interesting to see.
So it was like a charger in the scale of a building, basically, or a parking lot, right?
No, it was like a stack of Waymos. They were like in a grid, and it was like so many of them back to back next to each other, and they're all like connected with like a regular EV charger, you know? And they were just like charging, and there's some people with vests like walking around. It was crazy, and you see all the Waymos going in one gate, going out the other gate.
The geography of San Francisco is amazing, and the location. I want to share a story, and that's going to be the last from my side, of Golden Gate and Golden Gate
Okay.
Bridge, because that was my aha moment during the trip, and I really need to remember that for so long. So the story is simple. I was walking alone in the Golden Gate Park as I was exploring around, and I reached the top of the hill. I started playing with my drone. People gathered around, kids raised the drone. And then I go suddenly to a group of people that were explaining the Golden Gate Bridge story. And I hear them say that it's called Golden Gate Bridge because during the Golden Rush times, 200 years ago, people were rushing from all over the world, jumping on San Francisco to find the gold and to mine the gold, because there was this story being spread that this is the place. And then we started having a conversation with these people, and they asked me, what am I doing in San Francisco? And I realized that the story is being repeated, and a Greek guy overheard that AI is being mined in San Francisco, and I show up with my shovel, my golden shovel, to mine the new currency and the new valuable asset that the Americans came up with. And it's very interesting to think about who made money at the end of the day and how, but also all these brilliant ideas that
Wait, did you show up
come
with your
out of this.
shovel? Did you show up with your shovel, or did you buy your shovel here? Because that is interesting.
So my purpose is to figure out how to sell my own shovels, because they said that the Levi's jeans that we all wear right now, without even considering the story, were the jeans that were sold to the to the miners of San Francisco when they were doing this job. And Levi's just perfected the jeans, and now everyone is wearing them commercially. So yeah, that's the story. Golden Gate Bridge, a very, very popular monument, and everyone should go and see it live.
So it's the Golden Gate Bridge, but it's also the Golden Gate. It's before the bridge was built. It was the water gate where apparently all the gold was. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. And then, so you're saying now AI, or the AI labs, the big AI companies, are the gold discoverers, and they're inviting more people to come here, and they're selling them shovels.
Correct.
Interesting. Let me go buy me another shovel then, because I think I need one.
Correct. And then the gold is probably the energy that is being consumed on this technology, or the water at the end of the. Because if you think about who's going to make all this money, someone has to provide actually something at the end of the day. And the only thing that I see being nowadays is probably energy. We also want to think that it's productivity, but the later stats show that 80% of the executives do not have an impact in their daily life, huge impact on productivity. So we might have to see whether it's actually gold.
I think that's a discussion for another episode. I think we have to wrap this one up. Ian, I will see you very soon. I'm very excited to join you tomorrow, and we'll record. We should do an in-person episode, like, soon.
We're doing it. Let me know if you want me to pick you up from the airport, but I guess that's not something we should discuss live. So
of course I do.
Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, nice to talk to you too, and I'll see you soon. Bye.